Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
If you'll please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our prayer this morning is from Ephesians. Glory be to God, who by his almighty power at work within us is able to do far more than we would ever dare to ask or even dream of, infinitely beyond our highest prayers, desires, thoughts, or hopes. And our dog warden has the dog this morning.
Good morning. Today we have a 4-month-old male pit bull mix terrier. He's in cage number 40. He's ready for adoption on the 4th, which is Friday. We have 22 other dogs in the kennel, so if you'd come out and take a look, maybe we have something for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, he doesn't want to go. He wants to stay.
You want to stay?
Our guest speaker gets to take him home today.
Yeah, right. I knew if we were here long enough, we'd actually have the first person who wanted to stay for a meeting. But Madam Clerk?
Under Resolutions Number 1, Investments,
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Appropriations,
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Transfers,
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
No advances, no repayments, requisitions,
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Travel,
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Bills,
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Administrator Cortez.
Thank you, Commissioner Lundy. I do have a few personnel issues. Potential hire I want to talk about at the collection center, possibly in maintenance, and we are still in ongoing labor negotiations, so we may want to brief on that. Potential purchase of real estate, potential sale of real estate, and I think that's it. So at the conclusion of our executive session this morning, conclusion of our regular board meeting this morning, I'd like to go into executive session to discuss those issues that I've outlined. Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading in the minutes of February 24th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Back to you, Mr. Cortez.
Yeah,
And that was quick.
I think it's been a long, long time since we didn't even have one item on our agenda.
I don't remember ever not having an item on our agenda.
See how efficient you are? See?
Yeah, I mean, our efficiency is becoming crushing. But it doesn't happen often, and we have some visitors. I want you to know, usually we have a robust agenda. It's not usually this simple. So now I'm forced to sing. Did you use up time? No.
Move to adjourn.
Commissioners, we got some good news I want to share with you, and I don't see Don here, but you remember we were working on the stream restoration grant for the property board from Our Lady of the Wayside to try to work on that flooding issue over in Sheffield Township. Well, we got the word today that the contract's coming down from the EPA, and we're going to get the money for that stream restoration.
Great.
Beautiful.
Great job.
That's really some good news. We'll have more about it later. I got it this morning, but you know, that project has ran into so many different obstacles, and we've stayed the course. And it got expensive when it went from retention because of the wetlands issue after they logged out there, and they kind of ruined it for being able to be used. So stream restoration and also wetland restoration back there will take care of some of the flooding downstream, and of course we're working on those other parcels of property over in the township and the swale ditch along the Board of Elections. Once we obtain those, I think we'll have the full complement of property that we needed to end all that flooding, and hopefully we'll be able to hold back enough to end the flooding over in those portions of Lorain also that seemingly are underwater all the time.
36th Street ditch.
Right. Okay.
That'd be
So
beautiful.
it's good news. This is our second stream restoration grant that we received. We're working on another one out in the township. That's going to be a really nice project. But we got to keep going after this money, because we don't bring these grants back to this community. We just end up being a donor community with our tax base, and we want to be a recipient community. Other than that, I don't have anything else this morning. Thank you.
Mr. Ennis?
Well, I don't have anything to disturb you with this morning either, but if you want to stall, Herbie Jacoby used to like to have me tell lawyer jokes.
Oh, gee.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, there's too many of those.
Well, I actually had a really busy week, considering there was nothing on the agenda. Thursday, we all attended the State of the City for Lorain, and Mayor Rittenauer did just such a great job. You know, he's really young enough to be my son, so I feel like a mother, and he just did such a good job. I'm so proud of him. He really did. Congratulations to Dan Given, who will now be the Safety Service Director in the City of Lorain. On Saturday, I attended the Leary Township Fire Department steak fry at DeLuca's, and man, there was like 600 people there. It was huge. They had a great turnout. They used to have it, I think, at St. Vincent's and could only fit like 300, so it was a good move to take it over to DeLuca's. And then on Sunday, Fido's Companions had a fundraiser at BW3, and I got to finally meet Carly Smick. She's the girl that every year donates money and food and everything to our dog kennel. When she was 6 years old, she went to her mom and said, "My birthday is so close to Christmas. How about instead of giving me birthday presents, that we collect stuff and give it to the dog kennel?" So she's been doing this for 8 years. I'm going to try to get her here. I talked to her mother, and she was on this Ellen DeGeneres show, and I'm going to play a clip of that when she comes too. I'm really excited, and she's really a cool kid. So that was on Sunday. Monday, I had my Goodwill Board meeting. They're not going to be continuing their bus. So I talked to Mr. Cortez about possibly they're going to turn it back into the state, or if we could possibly buy it. It's still in very good condition, doesn't have a lot of miles on it. So I don't know if you want to comment on that.
It's on my desk.
Okay.
I don't believe the state's going to want the bus back, but we'll see what we can work out.
It was the 80-20 split, so whatever it sells for, Goodwill will get 20% of that they put into it. So.
Actually, I think if you do the 80-20 split, I think the clawback is they get their 80 first, and if there's not enough left for their 80, you don't get anything.
Oh, okay. Well, then they probably won't get anything then, I would imagine.
That's why we had that condo with the FTA dollars the same way, and we sat on it for so many years. We only needed 3 more years to completely deplete it, and we owned it completely. We had sold it before that. Then there's clawbacks on the percentage that they've invested. So I'll check it all out, get back to you.
Okay. Tuesday morning, we had a Team Lorain County meeting with a robust discussion. It was a really good meeting, I thought, one of the better ones that I've attended. And then we had our Gore Orphanage Road, our last hearing, and we actually are moving forward on the project. It was a long process, but I think everybody is happy all in all. And then we had our land bank meeting with, which we talked about the $3 million that we got from Senator Brown's office. $3 million for demolitions will go a long way in our county. So, and then I've been talking to Kathy Fritsch and Voltage. Kathy, how do you say your last name? Dolgin. From Energy Up, and I'm going to have them come up and talk about a program that they are looking to administer through the Ohio Buckeye Council, Healthy Buckeye Council. So you can either come to either one.
Okay. This one's okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to come here. It's exciting because I've worked with Voltage. She's back in Ohio. We're very lucky to have her here from New York. She has worked a lot with Mayor Bloomberg and with her program. I think you've heard about it with the sugar in the sodas and the salt on the table. We're lucky. She's moved back to Ohio, and we have a great opportunity. We've worked with Congressman Terry Boose since October of last year, trying to get her program implemented called Energy Up. It's EUVA, Energy Up, Voltage approved, in Ohio. We learned at the time that there was going to be some funds available, as it's called the Healthier Buckeye Council, and where the commissioners had to apply to become to get a resolution to become a member of this, and money will be distributed through Jobs and Family Services. Now, I was told through Jobs and Family Services recently that there's going to be approximately $2 to $4 million in the budget that will be dispensed out to the counties that apply to become members of the council. However, it is not everyone that's going to get this money. It has to be a worthwhile project, and only a few will be selected to receive a larger amount. The opportunity we're trying to present to Lorain County is a wonderful, healthy implementation for this grant money. This Energy Up program has proved with her research behind her, and it has been shown to the state capitol, to the members in Family Jobs and Services and other congressmen. We've provided you a letter of recommendation for her program from Congressman Terry Boose, and one should be forthcoming from, I believe, Congressman Ramos also. That this is a worthwhile program. It has shown through her research that mostly no more than 24 grams of sugar can cause health diseases, cancer, diabetes, heart disease. All the research is behind her. And of course we need physically fitness too. Her program can be implemented through hospitals. We've spoken with Metro, we've spoken with Cleveland Clinic System, also possibly with Mercy Hospital, and Y as facilitators, or to be used for the research, for follow-up, for anyone who would be part of this program as far as the community goes. So let me first introduce you more to High Voltage, aka Kathy Dolgin, and she can talk to you more about her program. Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
This is her latest book, Energy Up, which is this sugar savvy solution, which she'll be speaking about.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to come in today. Yes, I am a gal from South Lorain, Ohio. But for the last 50 years, I've been based basically in New York and LA, more New York. I've been a health and wellness pioneer for over 35 years. When I got sober 30 years ago, I realized that my eating behavior was, when I would start to eat sugar and many processed foods, it was the same kind of a process. So I recognized brain chemistry and addiction connected to food 35 years ago. Because of that, and because I was the director of a well-known hotel, spa, and resort in the late 70s, right close to New York, the media started coming around very early in my career. The Today Show followed my program for 4 years. CNN, Entertainment Tonight. I mean, this is my second book in reference to the addiction in this country to sugar. Sugar is America's #1 drug, and it's everywhere. And we're not telling people no, what we are doing. Everybody says that moderation is the key to success, and they're right. Nobody knows what moderation looks like. Moderation for sugar, not to start feeding cancer, heart disease, diabetes, is no more than 24 grams in 24 hours. A little less for children, a little more for men, but we chose the 24-24 because it's easy to remember. It's part of our slogans, it's part of our marketing. Katie Cork has been with me for the last 20 years, and she's watched me fight most of the food industry, and the science is there now in the last maybe 8 years, but it wasn't prior to that. When the science started coming out, Katie's like, Voltage, this is real. I'm like, duh, yes it is. She produced, and it just came out last year, a documentary that you can download on Netflix. It's out there, called Fed Up. This book, The Sugar Savvy Solution, partnered with Reader's Digest. Reader's Digest was looking to do a book because of all the science on chemistry and addiction, that they wanted to back a program that had science attached to it. Well, there's a medical study that was done on my program by Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, and Metro Health here is actually in talking to us right now about continuing that study. So I came home a year ago. This time in my life, of course, Bloomberg no longer being the mayor, I could have worked with the new administration. I really didn't want to. Last few times I came home, my family was not okay. I'm going to be 70 years old, feeling amazing, but my family was going to be 90 years old and needing help. It was an opportunity because I knew I could work from anywhere, and something made me want to come home. I can't even believe I'm saying this because for so many years I never thought about ever coming back. But each time I came home and I started connecting with friends that I hadn't seen in many years, and I just saw something. I think we just get smarter and wiser, and we want to go home. We want to go where we're from. So this program is ready to roll. When we came back a year ago, this document, Energy Up Join the Sugar Savvy Movement, was put together by a company that Bloomberg's organization paid to have this pulled together to help us find our partners here in Northern Ohio. They kept referring to Cleveland because they just really didn't know, but it's here. And when we met with Representative Bose and I showed him the book and he looked at clips from Fed Up and he's looking at all the marketing and the programs that we run called Take the Pledge. We go into schools and community centers with great music and fashion. We really make it fun because we have to change people's perception of what being fit and healthy is. Sugar is everywhere and it is driving disease. Bloomberg is not a health fanatic. He's a businessman. The healthcare costs are unsustainable. So we really see that getting people to understand sugar and by teaching them how to look at labels and do their best to stay under 24 grams in 24 hours immediately gets rid of soda and drinks and juices that just don't fit in that program. So this program that I am offering to Lorain County, if we can get the funding to roll this out in the year that I've been back, I have met with the mayors of Lorain, Elyria, Sheffield. We ran 4 Take the Pledge campaigns in the Sheffield schools and in the Lorain schools. We are in talks with the YMCAs to run our programs through there. We're talking to Mercy. This program is ready to roll. The Take the Pledge, a 6-week program that we help teach people how to make these changes, and we create these organizations called Sugar Savvy Sisterhoods, because it's not that the men don't rule, but gals, we do run a lot of things, and women usually run the homes. So we really go to educate the women. So what I would love to offer, and if you would join whatever it is you guys need to do to get some of that money. And I live here now. My energy, my love, and my passion is to see my community live fit, fab, and fierce, as we say in the program, forever. We make it fun, but it's doable. It's a serious program with science behind it and a passionate leader that just happens to be from Lorain, Ohio. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
One more person that I've been working with, please.
Okay.
Come on.
Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to comment that it was, I think it was 2000. Well, a number of years ago when I was working in Charleston, West Virginia, there was a big initiative there to try to help individuals with obesity and, sugar being a big part of that issue. And I remember myself being committed to the Atkins diet at the time. And when you talk about sugar, I guess my personal experience was that, cutting out the carb and the sodas and the sugar, I actually ended up going to the doctor because I said to the doctor, I'm losing a lot of weight here. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Is there something else going on, even though I'm going to the gym and cutting out the carbs and the sugar? And he said, no, that weight will drop right off if you cut out the carbs and the sugar. But what I did notice is any time that I brought sugar into my diet, the food cravings just went through the roof. So there's no question that the sugar is definitely linked to the food cravings.
Addiction is not addiction.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gayle Stumphauzer.
Hi.
You probably know me from Leadership Lorain County, but for the last 5 years, I've been running a small nonprofit called Margot's Free to Be Project. So I'm really, as you all know, I'm very dedicated to Lorain County, moving Lorain County forward in any way that we can, but especially women and girls because of my own daughter's story. So I'm very fortunate to have met Voltage. She happens to be my neighbor, so it's worked out very well. We've gotten to be great friends, and she's actually helping me to change my health, which has not been the greatest since the loss of my daughter. It just wasn't very high on my list of priorities. So I can speak personally from the change that it can make. But what I see here, you know, I'm more of a big picture person. I think this is a great opportunity for Lorain County to really put ourselves on the map. If we do this properly, and the way that I see it, I think we could open this up to the entire community if we were able to get enough money to really make this widespread. What I see is I love to work from the inside out. So let's just take something like Mercy Hospital for an example. An organization, I serve on their board, so I would have an interest in seeing them really latch onto this. I'd like to see Voltage work with the staff. And then you work with the staff, and then you open it up to the community. I could see her working with fire departments, with government workers, and then into the schools with teachers and students, tracking the progress so that we have data to show that what we're doing is making a difference. This woman is a big deal. Like, you don't really know that until you get to know her. And over time, I mean, my mouth drops open at the people that she knows and the contacts that she has. If we did this in Lorain County and we had the data to show the difference that we're making in our community's health, which, by the way, we all know from the health studies that have been done over the last 5 to 10 years, we're not in really good condition here. We would have a story to take forward. Not just Lorain County, but Northeast Ohio, the state of Ohio. We could be a model for the country. I've seen 60 Minutes, primetime television, Entertainment Tonight take hold of less interesting things than a community that's transforming their health. The interesting thing, though, is that she has the contacts to do that. You know, I often see stories here that I think, oh, what they should be talking about this on national news, but who do I know? She knows them all. So I see this as an opportunity for us to really not do it in a small way, but do it in a big way so that we have a big story to tell and so that we can really begin to transform Lorain County. So I'm really just here as an advocate, a citizen, someone who cares about our community, seeing an opportunity that I think we really need to wrap our arms around and take advantage, because somebody will. I know the Cleveland Clinic is looking at it and Metro is looking at it. Someone will grab this project, and I really hate to see it leave our community. Thanks.
Thank you, Gail. Is that it? Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming in. What? Talk about energy. Huh? About we want to go do some exercises right now. I'm going to have to give you that candy bag that I bought from this morning. Water. Is this good?
Yeah, just an observation, and I guess I'd have to find out where things currently are, because I know every time legislation would start to move, trying to indicate what should be in vending machines in schools, it always became pretty controversial. And but I know that when I was working as a reporter in West Virginia, that we actually took a camera and we put it in the hallways a couple days near the vending machines. And, you know, in between classes, the students always made the beeline to hit the vending machines. And when you saw the sodium and all the sugar that was consumed every single day in between classes, you know, you realized how that was impacting the lives of the young adults in that state. And the sad part is that the schools, you know, got to keep a percentage of that revenue, and because of money being tight, believe me, that was quite a tussle to try to get vending machine changes or some of the vending machines out of the schools, because the schools really wanted that money for their building operations. So I'd have to look at where things currently are in Ohio as it relates to vending machines in the schools and how they're operating. But that's just something, when you go into the schools, I think that is really important to take a look at, is what the students have access to. If they want that when they go home, that's another thing, but it's hard to believe that some of the stuff that's in the vending machines these days.
May I speak?
Sure. You have to come up, though.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
I'm very happy that you brought that up. I'm very happy you brought that up, because, as I said, I've been in the public schools for the last 15 years and been up against school food and all those other issues. And as I always love to say, selling drugs always makes money. So selling candy for candy use, cookies, you know, it always raises money.
Sure.
The goal, and what we've gotten really good at doing, is getting the kids and the teachers fired up not to be played by the system anymore. This is America, free commerce, we all want free commerce, but it's choice. Once you become educated, you don't have to keep doing these things. So in Sheffield, Becky Rodriguez, who is also one of my team members here, who's the nutrition director of Head Start, who is miles ahead of anything I've seen anywhere in this country as far as really working to change at a very young age. The registered dietitians that Becky introduced me to are also the registered dietitians for the Sheffield school system.
Mm-hmm.
They kicked Airmark out. And everybody knows what Airmark, I mean, they actually, you can make changes, but it just takes the will from the top, and then a program like ours and a program like the one that they're putting into Sheffield. That's one of the schools that we did, because the kids start getting behind this. The kids want the American dream, and once they start understanding being on 4 or 5 medications by the time they're 35 or 40 years old or waddling off to college is not the American dream.
Right.
So I'm not saying you have to get those things out. Our job is to get the kids fired up not to want to do that. And then by educating them, water is huge. There's a lot of incentives that go with this program. Water bracelets, teaching the kids to drink more water. There's so many layers to this. But if the will is there, I've seen schools make these changes. And we have the opportunity here, if we can raise the funds to really do this. And I have team members, it's not just me, team members right here in Ohio, right here. And the other goal is then training, if you look at the document that Bloomberg put together, is training energy conductors to do things in our protocols. So their employment issues. We could make Lorain County like ground zero of what it takes when a community gets its energy up. And everybody always goes, energy up, woo, is kind of the wake-up call. So we're aware of those issues, but we have the ability to get these kids to start wanting to make change. Nobody's forcing them to do that. And we've had a lot of luck at it, and I'd like to have a lot more right here.
I attended a class at Licata, and you're talking about addiction. They can show on a brain scan now, a brain on sugar looks the same as a brain on cocaine. Yes. So it has to do with addiction too. And you see a lot of addicts trying to recover drinking Monster drinks, and so yeah, it's a problem. So I'm really glad you guys came in. We have to go through the Job and Family Services, I believe, to do this, and Mr. Cortez has been in contact with Mary Lugolsky, who is our director there, to talk about it. So it's a matter of if we're going to go forward with becoming a member of the Buckeye Council, if we can use you in that program.
Well,
correct?
actually, it's not just becoming a member, it's forming, if we form a Buckeye Council, is number one. Number two, there's some other, it's pulling together all of the agencies that would have to become part of the Buckeye Association. And lastly, the amount of grant dollars is pretty limited. I will tell you, I looked over the requirements for the grants, and you would need, in order to be even qualified to submit, you need to have a sustainability and continuation plan. When I read those words in a grant application, that means how much outside money do you have and how long you're going to have it for. The one thing they're not going to fund is one-time initiatives. There's going to have to be a definite understanding that there's sponsorships that are going to bring or support the program afterwards with commitments of funds. I don't think anybody that submits will receive any funding unless they have a good continuation plan in place. So if we get to the Buckeye Council process, we get through that process, if you're going to submit a grant to do something like this, you're going to have backers with a wallet. They also said that we cannot submit current programming. The good thing is there's no programming like this in Lorain County, so at least it qualifies under that. And once the Buckeye Council is formed, it would actually be up to that council on what got submitted and didn't get submitted, not so much the Board of Commissioners, but you have the legislative authority to designate an existing structure or create a new structure. So there's some information I'll be providing you as we go along the way.
And I think, it's just important to point out there's more than just a health component.
There's
to
a lot
the whole
of
thing. There's a lot of components to it. So the health component is the one that, I think we find intriguing. But just in reading some of the information, it talks about removing obstructions to self-sufficiency.
This is supposed to be a program to lift people out of poverty.
Right.
Now, nutrition's a big part of that.
Right.
It's cheaper to buy a bag of Doritos than it is to buy fresh fruit. But there's a lot of components, as Commissioner Lundy's indicated. That, you know, they're looking for a multifaceted approach to how this is going to translate into lifting people out of poverty, and part of that is healthy initiatives too. But I think it needs to be packaged holistically with other solutions and collaboration. So, and again, the amount of money for the size of the state that's available is not big. It's about 2.3 million thereabouts. It's not a lot. 2-4. It's not a lot of money.
When the state budget's about $31 billion a year, 2 million is.
Yeah, you know, they threw some crumbs at this. So, you know, maybe if it takes off, they'll be more supportive in the future, providing additional resources. Imagine how they're going to try to spend that small amount of money over such a large amount of population. It's a little bit staggering to think. But
might also be worth a conversation with the county health department, which it's important to point out they stand on their own. They don't report to us. They have their own board levy, so on and so forth, and they might have access to grant money from other sources as well too that might help facilitate some of the initiatives that you're wanting to do.
Very nice presentation.
Mm-hmm.
As I was talking with Commissioner Lundy earlier, because he was in the state when this was passed in 2010, and now the new initiative to bring it forward. And it's a matter of wrapping our hands around everything, you being just one component of nutrition. So, and then sustainability of the program is the problem. So, very nice stuff. Nice video, Commissioner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I sent it.
Here,
That's under my report.
okay. Commissioner Kokoski capped most of what we had done this week. Again, you think he's old enough to be your son? Actually, the mayor ran around me from the time he was 4 or 5 years old, being Dan's campaign treasurer.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful job by Mr. Rittenauer, and he has some challenges just as we do. Again, the land bank with $3 million. I figure we'll get 150 to 200 homes demoed within our communities, cleaning up those neighborhoods. That's about it, because you covered everything we did this
sorry,
week.
I
Yeah,
go
we just
first,
wasn't-
so.
yeah.
That's what I get for going first.
Yeah, and actually on our agenda, number 13 brings up the Healthier Buckeye Advisory Council for information in our correspondence, so. End of my report.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Mayor Rittenauer on his State of the City address, and he certainly has his arms around the things that are going on. He was quick to the point of if Columbus wasn't keeping our money down there and actually sending money back. So when you hear about the Ohio miracle, understand it's a mirage because the money is staying down there in Columbus. It's forcing everybody at the local level to struggle and struggle greatly. That's why you see the city of Elyria out there with an initiative. That's why you see Lorain having conversations about trying to restructure some things so that they can keep their heads above water. And the bottom line is it was a reverse Robin Hood. Money was taken from the community so that the state could look good and I guess have something to talk about on the presidential campaign trail. But the mayor's doing the best that he can, and appreciate the good job that he's doing. I had a chance to attend an event hosted by Scott Sarazin, the law director of Elyria. Always enjoy working with Scott, a very insightful man. Lakefront Lorain County, we had another discussion concerning the lakefront communities. We've applied for a planning grant for the lakefront, but we're continuing our discussions talking about how we can coordinate our efforts to drive more economic activity to the lakefront. The Gore Orphanage hearing, that was a very productive hearing and process. One of the many processes that we go through as a new commissioner, I'm learning about ditches. So I'm getting a real education, but I think we're working real well in partnership with the trustees and the residents so that we can reduce flooding concerns and also exposure to mosquitoes and breeding grounds for mosquitoes out there in the township areas. And just want to thank Sherrod Brown and his office for working very hard to bring money back. When you're in the minority, I know how tough it is to get some things done, but it's also fortunate for us that we have a U.S. Senator who used to live in Lorain County and knows this county extremely well and always going to bat for us and for Ohio. And the land bank is making a difference. It's changing communities. It's changing neighborhoods, and it's going to get property values back up. The neighborhoods are going to be a lot safer, and everybody's going to feel better about their neighborhood, their community, and probably put a few dollars into improving their own homes in the process. So it's a real win-win situation, and just want to thank the senator and his office for all that they've done.
Board correspondence?
Sure. Move to approve the board correspondence and waive the reading.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Public comment?
Anybody
At
wishing
this
to
time,
address?
Miss, did you wish to public comment?
Well, I was just sort of
If you would,
today.
if you would come up here, if you wish to speak. I thought you were here to speak. I wasn't sure.
I just wanted to.
If you could, that's okay. Yeah, give us your name and address, and
Yes.
just so if you're aware, if you're here on the Butternut Ridge
Yeah.
issue, that there's
Yeah.
actually going to be a more formal
She knows.
hearing process. But any thoughts you want to share with us today, certainly feel free to. So your name and address again.
Okay, my name is Jean Hemminger, and it's 11375 Levitt Road, Oberlin. And I came to find out what the dates were and to sort of complain that, why can't you put a cross guard thing instead of blocking the whole road? Because there's an awful lot of us that go up and down that road every day. And that's about it. But I'm just sort of very interested in seeing what's happening here.
And then the clerk did give you the dates for that?
Yes, I also wanted to know, and she answered my question about a map as to where it's going to be closed off and how that's going to affect my going back and forth to work and everything.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, you are welcome. It's been very, very interesting.
Thank you.
It's usually
For a
more.
late agenda.
We don't have a lot today.
Okay.
We'll have
Now, is this every Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay. I might show up.
We'll send you the season ticket package. And
As long
And no
as,
charge.
as long as you're paying for it.
Speaking of season tickets, Rockin' on the River in Lorain just announced their schedule this morning, and you can buy the event tickets prepaid for the entire summer. They're $100 for all shows.
Oh, that's great.
It saves you about $75, $80 versus buying them individually.
Nice. I like the river trips.
Yeah,
Those
absolutely.
are really terrific. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Okay. I move that we go into executive session. To discuss personnel issues that were outlined by the county administrator and legal issues outlined by the assistant county prosecutor.
Second.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.
They're doing drugs.
It's easy to start, and it's painful to stop.
Prescription drugs are a prescription for a reason. If you take too many of a prescription narcotic, you die.
Chelsea was very well liked by her friends and by her teachers.
Ronnie was going down to Tennessee State to be the next player to come out of Tennessee State.
Joey was extremely popular, just surrounded by friends.
Mark was an athletic, fit-looking kid.
Aaron enjoyed talking and debating with any and all people.
The prescription pain pill problem is a huge epidemic.
This is an epidemic.
This is an epidemic that is infiltrated our young people.
We never had a conversation with Joey about prescription drugs because we truly had no idea that there was any kind of recreational use going on.
How many guys know it's not used by
The first time I started doing painkillers was when I was 17.
I would steal pills from my friend's mom. Her stepmom had script for Vicodin. That was like heaven. I went in her room and stole Vicodin every day.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes, and he'd go in there and go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
These medications are available everywhere in every socioeconomic environment.
Ronnie was the starting halfback, one of our best players. He got several scholarship offers.
Ronnie was very popular in the neighborhood.
Ronnie was a neat freak, clean freak, always had his hair braided. When he got into the pill use, his mood changed. He changed, like, was that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde?
Ronnie's appearance really deteriorated, and it was really unlike him.
I said, "Are you doing drugs?" And my son looked at me with these eyes of, "How could you even think of that, Mom?"
I was walking up to football practice. My coach was walking towards me. He just had this crazy look on his face. He goes, "You think they might have found your brother?" And I was like, to me, I was like goofing. I was like, I didn't know he went missing. So I was like making like goofing off. And he was like, "No, Justin, seriously, they might have found his body." And I was like, "Wait a minute." I was like, "Whoa, what?" He's like, "Yeah, they discovered a body in an apartment in Telford."
I never thought my son would take prescription drugs without a prescription.
Parents often trip themselves up by asking a simple question: are you using drugs? No. One has to be able to say, I'm seeing some signs here that concern me.
He was a little bit more argumentative. We thought that was maybe hormones.
The person has what we call pinpoint pupils. Literally, the pupils look like a pinpoint.
She slept odd hours.
We didn't know why he was sleeping so late.
If I wasn't able to get high, then I didn't want to get out of bed because, the physical withdrawals.
We were missing tinfoil from the kitchen, missing spoons.
We'd find the pens that were cut in half.
Straws.
There were a lot of charges coming on the credit cards.
We thought that there was somebody stealing money out of our account.
That's probably a pretty good clue there's something going on. Joey was pretty upset with his roommates. They were spending all their money on medication. Had I known that the medications that they were taking were so dangerous, I would have told them, "You're not even going back to that place."
If you feel something's going on, you got to investigate.
I thought it was just a phase. We partied when we were in high school, and it's just sort of a phase you go through as you grow, experience life, and you grow out of it. And I thought he was on that track.
Joey had been found and he was unconscious. He had all these medications that he had just received from this doctor. More than likely, he crushed and snorted it. We're just being completely hit blindly by, a situation we had absolutely no understanding of and no notice of. And in the meantime, my husband's in the house. I'm out front in the front of the house just, wondering what we're dealing with here. And so finally, Joe just came out and said, "He's gone."
I was downstairs getting ready for work, and Cookie told me she couldn't get Mark up. Mark was powerful and had the nickname in some circles of Tank. I reminded her that what she had to do was get a cup of water and splash him with it and stay out of his way. And she told me it was different. We found a clear plastic bag of loose pills. I'm not sure if he even thought he was doing drugs, and I know that sounds crazy, but it's not like it was heroin or cocaine. We followed the ambulance to the hospital. A few minutes later, someone came in and told us that Mark was dead. We never thought that was a possibility. I had no idea that kids were abusing medicine.
I came home one night, saw the basement light on, and went up to the window, and my son was crushing and snorting the pills.
We would find pills in the shoes, in the jackets that are hanging in the closet, in the pockets.
I found some pills hidden under his cushion.
They were in his socks. I never checked my kid's socks.
He took the light switch plate off and put them in there.
Look everywhere. Is it an invasion? No. You're doing the right thing as a parent.
I would question Chelsea, and she would always assure me that everything is fine and nothing's wrong.
Kids don't want to get in trouble, so they're going to tell you exactly what you want to hear.
There was always something down deep inside that said to me, something's wrong. You doubt yourself because you wonder if you're making a bigger deal out of something.
You know, maybe deep down my parents knew that I was high.
You can't always believe your child. Their lies get bigger when they're trying to hide substance abuse.
I knew her inside and out, and I remember Chelsea as the little girl that she used to be.
I looked at him and I only saw the most beautiful son in the world.
It was very difficult to think that she would be lying to me, which she was. She was out using and abusing prescription drugs.
Long-acting agents like OxyContin are meant to be delivered in the body over a period of hours, if not a day. If they're chewed, crushed, and snorted, you get the entire dose at one blast, and if the body's not ready to accommodate that, you will stop breathing.
We needed to call the police. But what are the neighbors going to think?
Put all of that aside and focus on what's important, as difficult as it may be.
Families can't get too caught up in the idea that, there may be an arrest charge of my son or daughter. They could be in jail. They could be in the morgue.
The law saved my life. If my mom hadn't called the cops on me, I don't know where I would be right now.
It was the most difficult thing to do, to call the police on your own child. It was horrible. I have gone from putting importance on things like what college are you going to get into to just celebrating the fact that she's alive today. She's doing very well. She's clean and sober. She's productive. She's sweet. And I have her back, and I'm thankful. And it's wonderful.
Aaron had spent the night at a friend's, and they found him blue and non-responsive. They took him to a local hospital.
He was using Vicodin, which we found out through his toxicology, what was in his blood system.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He had staph, he had pneumonia, he went through seizures. The doctor was explaining to us that he was going to die. We held his hands on each side, and we started crying, and he just laid there.
People use the medications in an abusive way, not knowing what the full consequences are, and somebody ends up here.
Within 24 hours, Aaron had opened his eyes.
Parents are the first line of defense in terms of prescription drug abuse.
You got to sit your kids down. You just got to tell them about the severity of the problem.
There's a number of steps that you can take.
Educate your child and yourself very early.
Anybody who feels that this can't happen to my child,
It could happen to your kid.
make sure that you don't have excess pills in your home.
Keep your medication locked up because you're never going to notice if something's gone.
What my mom does is she has these take-home pee tests that I got to take. No, I want to keep my mom proud of me, and I don't want to let her down.
You need to have the conversation with them about drug and substance abuse. And you need to include prescription drugs and guide them so they're able to get through their high school years and into college and through their college years drug-free.
Have this conversation before it's too late to have this conversation.